Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. You're here with Ron Placone, who's been covering the UAW strike. So tell us, where were you exactly? Where is there? So there's an auto plant in like Orange County or something like that they're striking, or?
No, man, I'm in the Midwest. I mean,
Oh,
Jordan's been on the beat and Tina's been on the beat, and then they, decided to bring in the clown shoes. So Jordan asked me if I could do a couple days, and I was like, dude, I'd love to. That sounds awesome. And so, yeah, I flew out to Detroit, and I met up with John. John's hanging out. Yeah, he's in the hotel room. He says hello. John's
hello.
the camera person for Status Coup, one of the main ones. And we met up in Detroit. And each day, Shawn Fain, the UAW president, would kind of announce different branches that were going on strike. Like he would announce it publicly. So each day we would decide where we were going to go. It was like a Tribble run, but for reporting. And the drives weren't quite as long. Maybe we should explain that reference to everybody who probably
Tribble
doesn't know
Run
what it
is such inside baseball for road comics.
It
Tribble is
is.
this like booker that would book all these like small towns in the Midwest, and they'd all be like bars and bowling alleys and woefully more relevant than covering a massive labor strike.
Well, but I mean, you're driving a lot and you're driving somewhere
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
So that was sort of the similarity. So we were in Wayne, Michigan the first day. Then there was a big rally in Chicago on Saturday, which was pretty badass. Like people, if you have not seen the Status Quo video from Saturday, check it out because Shawn Fain spoke. And then who was that one woman who spoke? What was her?
Sarah Nelson.
Sarah Nelson. She's like the president for the flight attendants union. Was that? Yeah, flight attendants union. And she had a really powerful speech. The mayor of Chicago was there. And then the singer for the band Rise Against, because they're a big lefty band and they're a big pro-union band and they're out of Chicago. He came up and did a surprise couple songs, and he played a Rise Against tune, and he played Which Side Are You On? He did a really good version of it too. He did a really good version of Which Side Are You On? So like hearing just a badass rendition of a Pete Seeger tune in a union hall, even you would have been into it, Graham. Like you would have been you'd have been like, this isn't a movie, but it's almost as good.
I would be like, I dig the message of this band of people that I've never heard of and don't know anything about, and I'm down. I support what they're doing.
Dude, it's funny. I was the only, when his name was announced, I felt like I was the only one in like the media tent who was familiar, because there was like all like the press or whatever. It wasn't a tent, but we were all like up above in the balcony so that everybody could be down below, and like cameras were set up, and there was everything from like, it was mostly just local news and stuff like that. And then John and I was Status Quo, and yeah, when they announced him, I was all like kind of into it, and all the local news people looked at me like, you're not supposed to show emotion. Why are you doing that? And you're also not supposed. I was the only one, well, John too, but I was the only one who was also cheering, and I was cheering for everything and chanting and stuff like that. Everybody else was like, no, we went to journalism school where they taught you to be neutral. And I was just like, well, I didn't, and I'm here too.
I went to road comic school.
I went to road comic school where I'm anything but neutral, and I got this thing.
So, well, this is so cool. You're in Michigan. What is your, I mean, you walked the picket line with me for, a month or so ago with SAG and AFTRA, and obviously the WGA has reached a deal. SAG is negotiating, but we're still on strike, and probably feels like it's going to get resolved soon. What is your sense of the people you've interviewed? Because basically that's the thing I love about Status Quo. Jordan's him and his people, and now that you go out and just talk to people on the street at these events, and what was your sense of the workers? And this is, if I'm not mistaken, the largest auto workers strike in
since like maybe ever. I mean, it's definitely the most significant one since 1976. Like they haven't
Mhm.
seen anything like this for, like over 40 years. Um, there was a lot. I mean, a lot of the people I talked to, I mean, they saw the connections with all that, and they talked about how this goes beyond the auto workers. This is labor in general, and
Mhm.
this is trying to, they try and people would say stuff like strengthen the middle class, which is fine. I'm not going to like nitpick the verbiage, but I really see it as reclaiming the middle class because I
Right.
feel like the middle class is over, and we gotta take it back, and there's no reason why we shouldn't have a thriving middle class. This country did at one point. So yeah, it
We
was
had a
really
thriving middle
encouraging.
class that unions helped build. I mean,
Yeah,
let's be real clear here. One of the reasons we had this, the American dream was you work hard, and if a lot of whether it was a union job or not, but you worked hard and you got good pay. The cost of living was reasonable, and you could have a good union job and buy a house, because you could buy a house for 30 grand or 40 grand, and not now the average home price is over $400,000 a year. That's average, and we live in California where it's significantly higher than that. So that should be pointed out as like the American way of life, the American dream wouldn't be in existence without unions. So it's cool to hear the solidarity. I mean, like when numerous times walking the SAG WGA picket lines, there was nurses union people there was teachers union people. Kaiser 75,000 Kaiser workers went on strike last week. And the there's hotels in Santa Monica that are currently being struck.
yeah.
And um, so, and where do you see, since the UAW strike is only a couple of weeks old, and Sean Fain seems like the right guy to be leading this union. Um,
Yeah, and I mean, he's very I mean, I liked him a lot when I met him. Like he's a really and it was a really cool moment. Like I was pretty, just proud of the moment and very happy for status quo, which of course, I mean, Jordan and Tina and John, they really laid the groundwork, and I'm happy to be part of it when I can. But he did on Saturday, which you all can watch this video. I do highly recommend it. It is 3.5 hours long. So, it's okay if you don't watch it cover to cover. But there are some fun moments. John and I drive around in a car, like going to different locations, because there was the big rally. And then after the rally, Sean Fain was going around to the different branches. And they told us ahead of time. They were really cool. Like they were happy to see us. They were glad we were there. All the union people were so cool to us. All like the captains spoke to us, and the different like branch presidents all spoke to us, gave us a ton of time. And they gave us heads up on which branch we should go to, because some of the branches they didn't want any media at, and some of them they did. So after the main event, we interviewed some people, then we went to the branch that they told us to, but we kept the live stream going the whole time. So we're literally like, I'm holding a camera with one hand. I have the status quo. I call it, Jordan calls it the Moses mic. I call it the Freddie Mercury mic. And maybe we'll get some more nicknames. Who knows? I don't know if Tina has a nickname for it or not. But I was on the mic and holding the camera while John's driving our rental truck. We needed a truck for all the equipment. And we're just going to this location, keeping the live stream going the whole time. But at that second location where Sean Fain did his press thing, he did a press conference for ABC, and answered their questions, and their questions were they weren't like, I wouldn't say they were straight up baiting, but they were definitely like PR approved. Let's just leave it there. I mean, they weren't bad, but they were kind of like, okay, really, dude, that's your question.
of course,
um
because let's be real clear here. The big networks, Ford and Chevy and all these people buy significant ad buys in the 8-figure range with these networks. So of course they're going to be more heavily favored to management. I mean, look what Jim Cramer
sure.
said last week. That big
Oh
sellout was
god,
like, they should move their
dude.
factories to Mexico. That'll put this, and it was like,
Dude,
oh,
I was asking people about that, but so he does the conference, or the quick press conference with ABC, And, they do their kind of like 3 or 4 questions and then thank you. And then he literally walks right up to me and says, "Hello, Ron." I guess he follows status quo enough that he knows me too. And he goes, "Hello, Ron." And he shakes my hand. And then he like wants to do an interview with me. And everybody just stopped and it was completely silent. And he talked to me for like 20 minutes longer than he talked to ABC. So it was a pretty cool moment. And it was like, okay, so, the evening news, with all their resources, they're going to get that little thing. And then we got to talk to him for like a while. And we're both IU guys. So I made a Sync the Biz reference, which is a reference to a bar in Bloomington. I told him, hey man, when this is all over, let's sync the biz together. One IU guy to another. Let's have a victory party. But yeah, so it was cool. I mean, it was cool to talk to him, and I do think that I do get both arguments for like, well, let's shut it down completely right now. Like, I get that perspective. I also get the perspective of, well, if we do it strategically, a little bit of a time, because the big thing that they're worried about, if they were to just shut it down completely, well, then all of a sudden you are basically going neck and neck with these companies, which have just had record profits, and your strike fund only has so much. When you do strategically a little bit of time, you're chipping away at these companies, pushing them to bargain more and to concede more, while at the same time, your strike fund's not going to run out because it's still it's kind of cyclical. So I understand, I totally understand that strategy. I also understand the perspective of, let's just shut it down completely. Like I get that perspective too. So I'm just hoping that, people way smarter than me are calling the shots, and I'm sure they are. But it seems to be effective. I mean, they seem to be making a lot of progress in a relatively reasonable amount of time. So, I think he is doing a great job, and he's doing a great job leading this thing. So, but yeah, the Jim Cramer, I've been watching Jim Cramer a little more because like we would watch cable news, one, because like we're in a hotel room and that's just something that you'll find yourself doing in a hotel room. And two, because like we would try to just know what they're saying to kind of inform what we would go out and do each day at these
Right.
picket lines.
Mhm.
So, man, Jim Cramer, it's got to be amazing having a job where you can just not show up sober for however long he has had that job. There's no fucking way that guy isn't drunk. Just no way. And if you look, I mean, pay attention to his co-hosts. They all look like they're about to shit their pants because they're wondering if today's the day he's going to go on a drunken rant about whatever and drop whatever slur he's bound to drop or whatever it is. They're on the edge of their seat going, is today the day he says something so fucking ridiculous we never bounce back? Are we all going to lose our jobs because of this moron? And you can tell like they're all sick of him. They're all just exhausted by his bullshit. And he's there like, well, I don't know if I have the poor. I mean, he'll go to Mexico. That's what'll happen. We go to work. Cars will go to Mexico. And it's just like, this is our news. This is what happens when you hand something like news and information over to corporations. This is what fucking happens. You get this guy who has to just numb his fucking soul every day to peddle his bullshit. So it's amazing. I mean, I don't watch it that. I mean, I feel like maybe a great show in the making would be just like like maybe me and you, we could just stream cable news and just like Mystery Science Theater.
Yes. Let's do mystery science corporate media.
I feel like that would really fuck with my blood pressure, but I mean, it could be a cool thing.
No, we'd laugh our asses off because we would come out.
I mean, you got to see the humor in it. I mean, and yeah, we should find out when Jim Cramer's on. That'd be like
Ron.
That would be a guy who's definitely got to be at least a weekly episode.
That's absolutely
whatever drunken bullshit. I mean, really, did you see the like? Okay, that was some really good insight.
No, Ron,
they should have him do the weather.
Oh,
They're just like, it's been fucking, I mean, the Midwest, you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes. That's what my dad always said. California's sunny again because they're communists. That'd be its report. It'd be like, this is gold.
I will make this a weekly segment on my show. Me and you watching Jim Cramer. Like, let's absolutely do this, dude. I'm like, no joke. Like, we'll do this. If all I did was that, and then you should know this, and anything can happen, I would be the happiest man ever.
All right, yeah, man, we'll have to chat. We'll have to set something up because yeah, that could be a really fun. That could be a fun segment.
How long are you? When do you get back? How many more days?
I fly home tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been fun, but I'm ready. I'm ready to go home.
Sure.
I was at the beach like right before I flew out, and then I was like looking at the weather in the Midwest, and I was like, damn it.
Yeah,
but you know what though? It's been there was a heat wave right before I got here, and Jordan Cheriton had to deal with the heat wave. And when I got there, it was very pleasant autumn weather, which is something that you don't, I mean, you can get it in California, but you have to drive to it. So it was pretty cool to kind of get some nice little autumn weather. And I was kind of glad I didn't have the heat wave. A Midwest October heat wave would not be too fun, but this was, the weather was perfect. So yeah, it was nice. I think we got like 1 day of rain.
Yeah.
And we got like 1 day of rain. And yesterday was cold and it was cloudy. And today it was like jacket weather, but relatively nice. The sun came through. We were in Toledo, Ohio, which is just outside of Detroit. And then we're in Detroit now. So yeah, and then tomorrow's the end of the line. And today 3 Mack truck plants struck. And so, I mean, and this just shows you how day to day it is. They announced at 7 a.m. We started looking, like, okay, where are these plants at? Because we can like go there for the walkout. But all the plants were in Maryland and Florida and Pennsylvania, but not just Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania. So like the closest one to us was at least an 8-hour drive. So we were like, okay, obviously that's not possible. Which kind of really goes to show you just how ridiculous our freaking media is, because like Status Quo is literally the only outlet in the country doing this type of thing. Like they're the only one. And we have a fraction of the resources the corporate media has. And you look at MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, they could do this many times over. They could take a freaking helicopter and cover all this stuff and get the true stories of these people. But they choose not to. They don't cover it pretty much at all. And if they do, they just twist it into a 20-second soundbite that's usually meant to make the unions look bad, because they're owned by the corporations. And it's just, it's too sad. It's very sad, but.
Well, man, I'm glad you guys are out there. It's really cool you're covering that. It's impressive to see. I didn't even realize you were out in the Midwest. I just saw some of your posts because I know there is a strike. The UAW is striking some plant in California, I thought. But
oh yeah, I guess there. Do you know where?
I'm not sure where, but
well, I mean, I guess he could have sent me there. That would have been a much shorter commute for me. I should have made the case. I could be like, hey man, instead of this Midwest trip, how about I just go to the SoCal one?
I mean, I'm not trying to jam up Jordan's logistical planning. I'm just suggesting there might also be one here.
Yeah, well, I did think that. When he made the offer, I kind of was like, hey man, I mean, I could cover something right here at SoCal, and just what. But I mean, we have been here like specifically with these UAW plants here for 25 days. So I think it's like he wanted to see it through, and
it's way more significant because the Sean Fain is there. That's important that you got that interview and got that conversation with him. And obviously Michigan, Detroit, the Midwest. I mean, this is the epicenter of the car industry. So
yeah, I mean, and dude, this thing on Saturday, I mean, yeah, we had to be there. I mean, there were so many. Jesse Jackson was there.
Wow.
Like there was, yeah, dude. Like it was pretty. The guy from Rise Against, I already told you that. I mean, he was there. I was pretty. Some of my college buddies were jealous. It was. Yeah, the mayor was there, and he did a nice job. I mean, I don't, I don't live in Chicago, so I can't really like speak to the mayor specifically, but you know, from what I've been told, he's a pretty progressive mayor and he's doing a pretty good job, better than what we got here, but or in LA. I'm in Detroit right now. I don't know anything about their mayor either, but you know, better than what we got in LA, I think. But yeah. So
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, yeah, let me know when you get back in town. I might be walking the SAG picket line one day this week if you want to join me for that.
cool. And before I go, I'll let everybody know real quick. I actually started a new podcast series called 1000. It's called 1000 with Ron Placone. And I drop clips on my YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/Ron Placone. And I also, you know, the audio podcast also has other stuff. You can get it wherever you get your podcast. It's just 1000 with Ron Placone. The next episode comes out tomorrow, and it's a pretty extensive interview with Cory Doctorow. We talk about feudalism. Are we in a state of feudalism? We talk tech policy. We talk some of his fiction work. We talk how he got involved with the EFF in the first place. It's a really, really interesting chat. We talk about Amazon and, you know, big tech and stuff like that, and antitrust. And we talk, what was the other big topic? Copyright. He's like an expert on copyright, and it's, you know, kind of where it falls short. So I know a lot of you probably already know who he is. So we do a really cool interview, and I'm excited for the world to see it. And that comes out tomorrow. So yeah, that's my new podcast. And for any Los Angeles folks, I got a bigger show, October 21st, in San Pedro. So you can get tickets for that at ronplacone.com. And Graham and I will be on a show together November 18th. So you can get all those tickets at ronplacone.com. Those are both LA shows.
Yes. And if you're going to be in El Salvador the first week of November for the Adopting Bitcoin Conference, that is November 7th through the 9th, I will be doing a comedy show November 8th, which Max Kaiser will be on along with Mona Sheikh. And you can save 21% off your conference pass using coupon code Elwood21. And that is all at grahamelwood.com.
All right, Graham. Thanks for, I was just sort of sitting in a hotel room playing on my phone. So this was cool. It was cool to talk to you.
I'm glad you jumped on. It's good to talk to you. Say hi to John and everybody with Status Quo.
He's hanging out, man. He can hear you. Yeah,
right
he
on.
says hi.
Say hi to Jordan and Tina and everybody. We appreciate the work you guys are doing, and we'll talk to you soon when you get back.
All right, buddy. Peace.
All right, later.
Later.
Boom. Ron Placone shaving his knuckles for justice.